I don't think that intergovernment relations have ever been at such a low ebb between UK and Scottish governments, and they seem to be characterised by mistrust, by never-ending conflict, and a sense of diktat. Now, I know you'll possibly disagree with that, but I think you yourself must sense that we're not in a particularly good place with all this, and I know that you'll be tempted to lay the blame at Scottish Government for a lot of that, which would be quite fair of you to do so. But what are you doing personally, and what is your office doing to try and improve the atmosphere and the culture of operation and working between the two governments?
Well, I think what I've tried to bring to the job is honesty and a clear position from the UK government, so that the Scottish government know where we are on positions, not to fudge any issues. It's not the way I do things. And over the interministerial group programme, which we spoke about when I was last here in November. I mean, since that, we now have 15 interministerial groups up and running that have been regular meetings developing in most policy areas, not entirely all policy areas, but most policy areas are being covered. And I think that's obviously a positive. I myself attended again this morning a DEFRA interministerial group meeting with the Scottish Government, with ministers from Wales and Scotland, and obviously representatives from the civil service in Northern Ireland. So I feel that we are working well together behind the scenes. We're delivering on free ports. We're getting on with city and region growth deals. We're talking to the Scottish Government about 2 investment zones in Scotland. We are obviously, as I've said to you in the past, the Scottish Government get up each day and go to work to destroy the United Kingdom, and I get up and go to work each day to strengthen the United Kingdom. And we know that's our position. And actually, in conversations I've had with First Ministers and others in the past, we acknowledge that we are absolutely polar opposites. We at the beginning of the discussions, we say we completely disagree on that matter, but let's see what we can agree on, and then we get on with the job in hand. But we absolutely, and that's what the press maybe give maybe when they write, there is obviously the disagreement around the independence issue and around Brexit and around UKIM, and I understand all that, but my job is to strengthen the Constitution and defend devolution, and I think the Scottish governments want to break up the United Kingdom, which would bring devolution to an end. I think that's, I don't know if you want to, I know you've done a lot of meetings, Minister Lambert's had a lot of meetings.
Before we bring in Minister Lambert, which I'm very keen to hear his perspective on this, I just wonder how helpful you think, destroy the UK, that type of language.
I think it's honest. I said at the beginning I'm honest. It's an honest position. They want to destroy the United Kingdom.
There's being honest, then there's using language, which is not in the least bit constructive.
No, helpful. But it's honest.
I think it's just making that sort of distinction.
Do you want?
But I asked you directly exactly what you were doing to try and improve the situation, and all I heard was a sort of a comment that was actually going to make the situation worse. What are you doing directly to try and improve the situation and the culture of working between Scottish and UK government?
I think if we come at this honestly and we acknowledge that they want to destroy the United Kingdom, they want to bring it to an end, they want to break it, whatever language you want to use, and they know that I want to strengthen it by having more UK government investment into local authorities, real devolution as I call it. If we're open with each other, that's my strategy, that's their strategy, we then find the bit in the middle where we can meet and work together, and we find lots of areas we can do that. As I listed in my previous answer, free ports, investment zones, city and region growth deals, there's more things coming down the track. Union Connectivity Review. We're beginning to work on those things because they are good for the people of Scotland, because they bring jobs to Scotland, they bring high-skilled, high-paid jobs, and that's what I'm focused on, is improving the economy. But I'm not going to pretend that I'm giving any ground on powers that would allow a referendum to take place, for instance, a Section 30. I'm not going to pretend for a minute that I'm going to do that, because I'm not. So it's easier to be clear about that and then get on with the business end of things.
I'm not sensing much of anything that's coming from you about how you're trying to improve the situation. We'll leave that just because I know you're keen to bring in Minister